All right, on the buck stops here tonight. How does a university justify withdrawing a book after demands from a political party? Has the state government done anything more than take an ambivalent position? Remember, this state government refused to allow the sale of James Lane's book despite the Supreme Court revoking any sort of censorship of that book. And also, is this a sign of the politicization of universities, or is the debate more complex? This is not the first time a book has been subject to this kind of political storms in India. In fact, some would say that India does not have an especially good track records when it comes to literature, and the response of politicians being able to hijack the agenda of literature and bring it into the domain of politics. Let's get started with our debate tonight. I want to start with Professor Usha Subramanian, who was one of those lecturers today who organized that reading as a statement of solidarity, as it were. Also, Rohinton Mistry sent a letter, ma'am, to your forum, which was read out. He described the move by the university as one that institutionalizes what he called the ugly notion of self-censorship. Do you believe that this is a losing battle now? Have you got any cogent explanation from the Vice-Chancellor as to why this decision was taken to withdraw the book from the syllabus?
Whom is the question addressed to?
To you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. See, as far as I'm concerned, there are three aspects to this which are very disturbing. The who, the why, and the how of it. The fact, yes, as you've said, books have been banned earlier, censorship has been imposed, but that a university, an academic institution that should lead and influence thought processes in civil society, has instead tamely surrendered and absorbed its responsibility to do so. That's the first shocking aspect. Then the why of it. Groups, there will always be pressure groups. You don't expect tigers to change their stripes or leopards to change their spots. And if it's a Sena today, it will be some other group tomorrow. That is not the point. But to cave in to such pressure groups is also a dangerous precedent. And finally, the how of it. In extremely indecent haste, even though he claims that the Board of Studies took the ultimate call, very probably there was some pressure tactics brought in there. I'm not sure about that. But there is such a thing as departments, heads of departments. There should have been a debate, a discussion. And finally, this Board of Studies that was consulted was already defunct. Its term had expired in August. Yeah. So he could very well have waited for a new board to be instituted, proposal put forth, and then the subject debated, discussed, and then a decision arrived at.
I think you
so this kind of hasty implementation of a demand made under threat, I think it's kind of, it has destroyed the image of a very esteemed, ancient university. And today, most of us teachers, the thinking fraternity in Bombay, not just the teaching fraternity, is hanging its head in shame. And the emergency powers that were revoked to implement this has created a greater crisis than the one that necessitated the so-called emergency powers.